and we are keeping you ahead as far as the latest from the U.S. is concerned. Remember, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a 3-day visit. As we speak, the bilateral between Prime Minister Modi and U.S. President Joe Biden is underway. We have with us Raymond Vickery, Senior Associate, Center for Strategic and International Studies and former Assistant Secretary of Commerce. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. What are your expectations from this important bilateral that's underway, and after that the very important Quad summit, and which is significant because it has a farewell note as well attached to it?
Well, thanks very much for having me. I think that this bilateral meeting is very important, of course, and it's always a great day when the leaders of the two largest and greatest democracies in the world get together. I imagine that there will be a lot of behind-the-scenes discussion about Ukraine, the visits of Prime Minister Modi both to Moscow and to Kiev on that. But I think, make no mistake about it, the most important meeting today will be the Quad summit. The Quad's whole purpose is to involve India in the strategic architecture for a free and open Indo-Pacific under the rule of law. And without India's involvement in the Indo-Pacific, there is no Indo-Pacific. So it's very important. China understands the importance of the area, and they have a holistic strategy which involves infrastructure, which involves aid, which involves trade, as well as military components. And so what the Quad can do is supplement that. I look to the Quad joint statement to say something concrete about further information sharing in the maritime domain. I look forward to it saying something specifically about the involvement of the Coast Guard. India has a sensitivity to military alliances, but there's no reason that the United States and India shouldn't be allies in trying to wage peace and bring peace with China and to the Indo-Pacific under the free and open rubric and rule of law. So I think it's going to be very important. Obviously, President Biden wants to institutionalize the Quad. I think there is a concern in the United States that should former President Trump be elected, that the kind of approach of coalition building, of working with friends and allies would go out the window in favor of a transactional approach.
Right.
I don't think that's likely to happen overall, but institutionalization of the Quad would help.
Institutionalization of Quad is going to help, and of course there are also now concerns whether Quad is very relevant given the current geopolitical circumstances that we are into, and also the way we are seeing rising influence of China. So that's very important what you've mentioned, and I'd like to take that point across to Peter Kuznick as well. You know, it's a hometown summit because it's happening in the hometown of U.S. President Joe Biden. Do you think messaging here is very, very important? A message that U.S. wants to send to the world that, you know, as far as Indo-Pacific partners are concerned, they, are together as far as countering the rising influence of China in the region is concerned?
Well, Biden's interest in messaging may not be the same thing as President Modi's. Biden, since he got to office, has been very strong about building alliances that are going to allow the United States to maintain its unipolar position. But Modi, Xi Jinping, Putin, Lula, and many others are looking to create a multipolar world. Modi has been very smart in the way he's played off one set of interests against another set of interests. While, as the previous speaker correctly said, the goal for Biden in strengthening the Quad is to involve India as much as possible in the containment of China. At the same time, India has very different interests than the United States. India is friendly, for example, with Russia. And it's very significant that when the NATO summit is taking place here in the United States, where was Modi? He was in Moscow. So whereas even though India's relationship with China has not been a very friendly one, there were just meetings last week
Right.
in an attempt to cool down the tensions on the border there. So Modi is not going to be drawn into the kind of containment policy that Biden might want to see.